Okay. Uh,
Because the IIMB brand was very strong and IIMBx was leveraging on that. For example, our PG SEM, it was then called PGPEM, had classrooms both in Chennai and I think in Hyderabad and in Bangalore. So we would broadcast the classes. When I started doing MOOCs, I thought film actors are not overpaid. And then I'd used a Rubik's Cube. And then we had a green screen. And then, all the green from the cube disappeared. So we didn't have an agreement or anything. We just did it.
Okay.
And they liked us, we liked them, so we launched the program. That's how it started. You should see it. It's a really nice one. Huh?
Okay, maybe we will pull it up.
It's really
Yes,
nice because we start from the studio and then we come right up to the editing table. We explain to people what is happening
Okay.
and so on. Paradoxical way, that's the time everyone also realized that anyone could do it.
Thank you so much, Professor Jose. I think we have been waiting for this conversation for a long time. So let me set the context of the conversation. So we have been having a series of conversation between people to understand about basically digital learning, how they are doing. And you have been a very pivotal role in building IIMBx, I think from 2014 to almost 2020, just before the pandemic struck in. So maybe if you can quickly start. I mean, I know from the digital point of view, but also from a strategic point of view, maybe a quick introduction about yourself, and then maybe we can go into how the journey of IIMBx happened in the last 5 years.
Thanks, Diljit. I'm really happy to be here. The journey was, in a way, all this happened because we had a director who came in from the US. His name was Professor Sushil Vachani.
Okay.
So he had some connections with edX in Boston.
Okay.
And when he came in, he came with the idea that we will set up a MOOCs facility. He talked to the board and then we got about 8 crores of funding. And I think the whole the whole idea of MOOCs and so on was conceptualized by him. So in a way, if you want to say, he is the founder of the whole MOOCs lab and experience in IIMB.
And this was the time when edX was also starting, or they were already in the game?
edX had just started.
Okay.
And Sushil was in Boston. So he
Okay.
knew Anant.
Okay.
And then they had a conversation. Then Sushil came here and then, things happened.
Okay.
So he was really a very, very much forceful that we had to do this.
Okay.
So there was initially some little bit of, faculty resistance and so on. But he quickly overcame all of that.
Was IIMB already in an online learning space at that time? So maybe if you step back a bit from 2014, were we already doing some online courses at that time, or any part of online teaching was happening?
So not in the conventional MOOCs format, but we did have distance classes.
Okay.
For example, our PG SEM, it was then called PGPEM, had classrooms both in Chennai and I think in Hyderabad and in Bangalore. So we would broadcast the classes.
So how did that happen? How does that work?
So we had a dedicated network.
Okay.
And so the faculty would take the class from here and there would be a class,
So the students will come to these centers and they will...
yeah. So there was a class, what you would call as a distance classroom.
Okay.
And students would be there and we would do the classes from here. Before that, we also had with Hughes, we had another setup. The executive education program had one. So we would broadcast our classes to across the country, some 2 or 3 centers. So there people could come into maybe a Reliance web center and then attend a class. So we had multiple formats. It's not that we were new to this, but we were new to the MOOCs format. We had not done anything like MOOCs before.
Okay, so it was more synchronous kind of...
It was synchronous.
Synchronous mode, and then 2014 was the shift when we started into...
Correct.
So, okay, in the journey of getting started, of course, we got the funding and things like that. So, what was the first step? I mean, because it's completely new, right? People were starting to talk about MOOCs. People didn't know what an asynchronous learning was at that time. So, what was your first touch point in terms of building, and why did the name maybe IIMBx came into the picture?
Okay,
yeah.
So let me start with the last one first.
Yeah.
The name IIMBx came in because edX and HowardX and MITx, so it is very logical. In fact, we had only 2 institutions in India. I think one was, I think it was IIT Bombay. There were 3, IIT Bombay, then I think the Birla Institute of Technology, and IIM Bangalore. These were the only 3 institutions which were aligned with edX. So we created IIMBx. And actually, I was not the founding chair. What happened was Sushil took a personal interest in this. And then he asked, requested anyone interested in doing a course, do offer. So I ended up offering my first MOOC course then. It's called Strategy and the Sustainable Enterprise.
Oh, so your course was the first course that was offered in?
No, it was among the first courses.
Okay.
I'm not sure what number it came in, but it's one of the first few people. There were a couple of others, right? And so when I did the course, I got really interested. And then at some point of time, Sushil probably felt that we have to build this further. So we had our first manager here, Ramya Srinivasan, who probably you know, right?
Yeah.
So she was an outstanding leader. She came in and she started building a team. Then I came in as the chair, and I think we synced really well. So it grew very rapidly. But I think the biggest growth happened when Sushil's term got over, and then Professor Raghuram came in. And in between, I should say, there was Professor Srinivasan. So when Srini took over, he just, in a way, handed over MOOCs to me, and he said, you take and fly with it.
This happened everything over a year period time, or 1 or 2 years?
No, I think it happened over 2 years maybe.
Okay.
And then, of course, Raghu came in, and Raghu basically was very hands-off, but very supportive. So I think that's the time we really grew. We were able to seek external funding. We actually set up that, the case recording lab with support from Mitsubishi. We set up the SR1 with support from NSR Cell and Goldman Sachs. So we did a lot of things. And we did quite a few innovative, pedagogical innovations, you might call it that way. So it was a very exciting time. The team also grew very rapidly. I think we reached some 45 people, and then we went up to maybe about 50 plus courses. And IIMBx was rated as, I think, the 3rd best, institution in the world. We had a good presence with the Open edX team. In fact, we were also one of the first to launch the MicroMasters. So there are a lot of things happened really during that time.
How did you, I mean, like for an institution who is wanting to get started with teaching online, or because after the COVID especially, there is a shift in terms of online teaching, and of course from ministry there is also a lot of, so it's not like when we were starting 2014, it was really like something very new, but currently I think everybody is getting started. So what would, and then you were saying that initially the faculties were finding it difficult to get them, so what was the first things that you were able to do to kind of convince some of the faculties to get started teaching in our IIMBx program?
So we had a few pioneers. I mean, just to take one name, was Professor Shankar Venkatagiri, who had been doing a lot of online. And, so he had multiple presences on the web and in the media and so on. So he was a natural for this. Now, if you take me, I was not a natural. Most of our faculty are very good in the classroom, but it's very different talking to a camera. So we kind of froze in front of the camera, and it happened to all of us. So, on a lighter note, the first thing that struck me when I started doing MOOCs is I thought film actors are not overpaid.
That's true.
Because, all these people who had great classroom presence had difficulty coming in and standing in front of the camera. So it took a lot of learning. But, then our colleagues are also quite smart. So we actually we had, I think, Professor Vasanthi, Professor Rahul Dey, then I think Shankar was there, then I was there, then there were a few others. I don't remember all the names now. But all of them really did fantastic job. In fact, 2 or 3 of our MOOCs were rated the best in the world. So, and of course, success breeds success, right? And we learned. But I think when you look at the success of IIMBx, it's just not the faculty. There was actually a really good team. So for instance, I remember in the first few days, we did the editing, the faculty, the editor, and the PRA, the research associate, would sit together, and we would sit until maybe 1, 2 in the night also. We sat together and we edited, right? So of course I didn't edit, but the team edited, but the faculty would be there. And that was not just me. The connection was very intense. So it was a very motivated team. They would do anything to make something look better. And we have to improvise. See, today you have all these, the things have, technology has
Tools
developed
have
so
changed.
much.
Okay.
We didn't have so many tools then.
Correct.
So everything needed,
Okay.
So I remember one funny experience. I think Yusuf, you were probably part of that when we were trying to show how risk, is mapped. And then I'd used a Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
And then we had a green screen. And then, all the green from the cube disappeared. So they had to really go back and look at it. So even the simplest editing, simplest changes you wanted, required actually rather complicated editing, which is not the case now. So I think we really had a fantastic team.
So I mean, when you were saying that when you got started, the recording was. How did you personally, for example, overcome some of this? I mean, I've seen many. Like in my previous place, I remember working with one of my faculty, Deva, and he used to keep like two students in front of him, and he used to teach him so that he feels so comfortable because there are students there. Did you use any technique, or how did you convince to make the other faculty members comfortable in actually recording?
Yeah, it's a good. I can tell you how I became
Yeah.
comfortable. No, first of all, I'm not fully comfortable even now.
Yeah.
But I had a really wonderful PRA, who was an
Okay.
exchange student who had come in from Sweden, and then she helped me with that.
Okay.
So she would stand behind the camera and say, smile. Because you forget to smile, right?
Okay.
When you're doing this,
That's
you
true.
get very nervous.
You get very serious. Yes.
And then, of course, so you have to basically do what you're comfortable with. So that was a technique I used.
Okay.
But I think there were other things. The challenges were like, what color of dress would you wear? And how conscious are you about how you appear? How do you speak? All of this became very important. I remember, I shall not name the faculty. I remember there was one faculty who came into the studio, did the recordings, and it did not turn out really well. So I had to go back and tell that person, maybe you have to dress differently, maybe you have to do something else. But the beauty of this whole thing was that, and I think our team would support it then. Even the cameraman would go up to the faculty and say, well, you don't look suitable enough for this. Change your shirt or change something or speak differently. So we had a very egalitarian setup here. Partly because nobody knew how to do this. So everybody was an expert in their own field, right?
That's true.
So this was probably a place where the faculty felt completely at sea. In a class, you are the sage, you are the big
you
guy.
have the control over the entire thing.
Here you come in and you just realize you know nothing. So I think we really had a good team that way. I think it was quite, it was a relationship between equals in my view.
Okay.
At least in the studio.
Okay.
It certainly worked.
I mean, just curious. So when you mean a team, right? So how did this role PRA? I mean, I think we have created it. I've not heard this word anywhere. But how did that role evolve? Did you start with that, or did that role eventually evolve? And can you maybe describe what was the role there in that?
So initially, it was called a research assistant.
Correct.
And we were recruiting basically, senior people, in the sense that people who had done masters and all that. So I felt it was not a proper designation. I'm not sure when it happened, but I went and proposed that we will call them Pedagogical Research Associates. Because I didn't want the word, for that I take credit, because I didn't want the word assistant. And we couldn't call it research associate because we already had research associates in the institute.
The role was different.
Okay. The role was different. We wanted to distinguish, differentiate this in a way. So that's why I suggested Pedagogical Research Associate. Okay. I'm not sure whether it was during Sushil's time or subsequently, but it was accepted. Okay. And then it became the norm. And I thought that was, in a way, if you think about it, I think that's something really nice that we did. It gave people due respect. And it created a category of experts who are actually vital in creating a course.
So, I mean, I just want your vision in terms of when we started this role as PRA. So, usually if you look at organization, they will have an instruction designer usually working with the faculty and then creating a lesson. But this role is a bit bit unique in terms of academic institution, right? Which blends some bit of instruction designing, some bit of subject matter expertise. So how did that work when you started working? Because usually people don't get in this role as an important part in developing e-learning courses, and one of the reasons why faculty struggle to put the courses together. So how was that role vital? I see that, of course, for the fact that she told to smile, which is an important role also. But what are the other things that usually PRAs help a faculty to get
So
started?
the PRA, as you rightly said, is part instructional designer, but they are not formally qualified.
Correct.
And instructional designers are more difficult to recruit. I mean, there not so many of them were available at that point of time. We also needed people with a subject expertise. So it's not just you should know instructional design, you should also have subject expertise. So from our point of view, it was easier to give somebody the basics of instructional design rather than teach somebody the subject. So that was a fundamental understanding. And we actually had a fantastic instructional designer at that point of time. So she really helped, kind of upskill the research associates, and get them into some, some higher level of, learning and competence. So the PRA really is the one, in my view, if you want to put it in simple way, is the director of the course. She or he, mostly it was she in our case. So the PRA would orchestrate the whole course. So the first job is coordinating, between the faculty and, scheduling things and so on. But the second would be she would sit with the faculty, help design slides, give feedback. And some point of time, if the faculty are really busy, then the PRA would take charge of the, coordinating the editing and all of that. So if you ask me, I think in our setting, the PRA was the one who had a full view of the course. I don't think anybody else had it. And that's why it is such an important role. Right from, setting up the studio to, I'm not, not this studio, but so right up to, setting up the learning elements and, putting them in and all of that. And managing the learners, getting the feedback.
Got it.
So that's actually a very critical role.
I'm just going back to the team concept, right? I mean, like, I'm also referring to any university or colleges want to get started. So you said the team dynamics and the faculty dynamics, and of course, team which comprises of various factors, right? So what would be a minimum team that is required in your view to get started with some online, now we are not using the word MOOCs, but a course or a program to up and running. So what is the minimum, and how is that interaction when you say? But currently I think we have moved into edit notes, and we don't see faculty sitting and editing because of the scale of the nature in which we are also doing. But of course that may have also played a vital role in actually creating a beautiful output.
Correct. It reduces engagement, no? When you look at edit notes, and then there's no connection between the faculty and the team that's creating the course.
Correct.
So it was very different. See, you look at our system. Our system, the faculty are the stars, and they perform in the classroom and they walk away, right? But here, it was very different. We created a product together, and I think everyone who created a course in the initial days will have had very intense involvement with the team, and they had very good relations with the team. They had, they celebrated, did various things together. So that was the basic thing. But if you go to the question of, let us say, how many people are needed in a team, I think it varies really. I've seen faculty doing it with no team. Because today tools are available. Sometimes the videographer himself or herself is the editor. So I think things are very different now. But if you ask me, if you look at a place where the faculty have multiple roles, and some kind of specialization is quite useful in the creation of the MOOC, then I think you would need a combination of a research associate and instructional designer, which could be a PRA in our lingo, but it could be anybody else. You need somebody to do the recording, and then maybe someone to administer the course.
Correct.
So some 3 or 4 people are good enough.
Good enough to at least get started with building
I think so.
Building a course. Okay, I mean, maybe we can continue the journey from there, I think. And so 2-3 faculties, so if I understand right, 2-3 faculties who have been comfortable teaching online started teaching, and then eventually other faculties joined. So, but MicroMasters came in. So that is still that we are putting our courses in edX platform, right?
Right.
We don't have our own platform yet.
Yes.
So, but I think in 2016 you made a major shift in terms of how you started delivering courses. So maybe if you can share some.
So I should go back two
Yeah.
steps before I
Yeah.
say this.
Okay.
So we had a couple of faculty who actually naturally took to online,
Okay.
and they came in and taught. But vast majority of our faculty were not really very keen on this.
Okay.
So it took some convincing. And I've had
Okay.
long conversations with people, motivating them to come in and so on. One of the things that works here is you go and talk to somebody, and then people are very helpful, and that's how the number of courses went up.
Okay.
So coming back to IIMBx, so we were on the edX platform, and we didn't really have so much flexibility. We had a sweetheart deal with them, by the way. So we had got a really good deal, but we didn't have so much flexibility, and they were using OpenEdX, and I thought it may be a good idea to start our own IIMBx. So that's how it started. Now, when we started, the idea that I had was basically, let's take some of our courses and offer it, to our corporates and so on, not through edX directly, because we wanted to offer hybrid learning or blended. I mean, those days it was called hybrid.
Yeah.
But the whole idea was, on edX, you couldn't engage with the learners directly. Here we could. And I thought we could charge a higher fee. So that's how we started. Fortunately, we found a partner, I forget the name of the company now. We found a partner in Gujarat.
Yeah.
We found DRC, who also had limited experience then.
Okay.
So with DRC, we developed the platform, and then we put it out, and then it just got a life of its own. But I think 2 or 3 things made it very popular. Those days, we would offer our courses to other business schools or anybody who wanted to take a course on the IIMBx platform. And we had something called a faculty buddy kind of system, where our faculty handheld their faculty, and our PRA handheld the institution in offering these courses. So I think some of our courses became quite popular in other institutions.
So this is other institute. It's like academic partnership.
Other academic partnerships.
Okay. So how did that idea come? So did they take our course as a supplement or add-on to
So
their
it was
own
supplement, add-on. They wanted they wanted the partnerships. So we had 2 kinds of partnership.
Okay.
We had academic partnerships, corporate partnerships. The academic partnerships took off very fast. And one of the reasons it also took off was those days MOOCs was becoming a little bit popular, and we had many faculty development programs. I think we did one every month, and the average attendance would have been about 100 people.
Oh, is it?
Literally, yes. We did about 10 or 12 of them.
For every month you had an FDP.
Literally, we had FDP.
And this was on online teaching only, or
no, this
generally?
Is online. No, online teaching.
Okay.
But we had, what we did was the morning we would do the first 1 or 2 sessions broadly on online teaching. And then we would do a master class by our faculty, multiple master classes.
Okay.
So
and this was in 2016, 17?
Maybe 17, 18 and all that. So we did several actually.
Okay.
And that was very popular.
Okay.
So people came in, they saw what a MOOCs was. Then we taught them how to use a MOOC, use our MOOC actually. So our, maybe someone did a course on, say, statistics, would then take a master class on statistics using his MOOC. So that helped the adoption quite a bit.
What is master class? I mean, is it subject or is it really teaching online?
No, both actually.
Okay.
So for instance, a typical schedule would be I would come in and I would say MOOCs are the future or something like that. Correct. I don't believe that now.
Correct. Things have changed. Yeah.
Yes. So then, so we give them some exposure to what happens and so on.
Sure.
And then we would split them into groups.
Okay.
So say people from, let's say, who are teaching statistics would take the statistics MOOC. Somebody who's teaching HR would take the HR MOOC. Someone would take the operations MOOC and so on.
Okay. So there is combination of some bit of subject and some bit of...
No, it will be, so let's say operations. Professor Mahadevan was the faculty for that. So he would take that group and they would be, it would be a breakout group. And then he will demonstrate, he will show his MOOC. He will run through it.
Okay. So these are faculties who have already done some bit of MOOCs?
No, they might not know anything, but they just see the first page, they see the sessions and so on.
No, the sessions whom we are taking are people who have already done.
No.
No.
No, this could be anybody who is just curious.
Okay.
So they come in
Okay.
and they get a general overview of MOOCs.
Okay.
That will be done mostly by me.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Then they will move into different, breakout
Subgroups?
groups. And in each breakout group, we will take one subject, one MOOC that we offer.
Okay. And then break it down and
break it
understand what.
And we also did something else. I don't know whether it's still there. We created teaching notes, the equivalent of Harvard Business School teaching notes.
Okay.
We created teaching manuals for the MOOC. So a faculty could take a MOOC. I mean, could, someone who's adopting a MOOC would get the teaching manual, then could look at how it was to be administered. So it was a kind of one more aid. I think subsequently it has been discontinued. But that I thought was a very useful way to get people to adopt.
How did faculty see MOOCs during that time? I mean, because early 2016 you would have interacted and the MOOCs are coming in. And how was the adoption? Because you have done so much FTPs. What was the sense that you got during that time? Or now I think things would have been much more better. What is the sense that you got at that time from the faculties? Did they adapt it or did they go and start some of the...
So to be very honest, I think most people came to IIMB. They wanted to be in IIMB. And there were some who were very curious about what was happening. Because, COVID had not happened. So IIM had not really taken off. So IIM came in a little later. So people were just curious. But once they came in, many of them got hooked. And I think one of the things also that helped was we then also did a, annual conference. It was called the Future of Learning, which was actually focused only on digital learning. We did 3 rounds of it. And I think a lot of these people came back to that also. So there was, and by the way, that was also quite an interesting experience because that was done in collaboration with IIT Bombay, which have also had a pretty good, MOOCs kind of department and so on. And then we also collaborated a little bit with IIT Madras. So we try to bring institutions together.
And this FOL conference.
So a lot of people came in. So the movement was growing. But I should stop here and tell you about our corporate partnership, which is the other part. So we had academic partnership, then we had the corporate partnership. That did not really take off a lot, I would say. And that was partly because I think our executive education was not really convinced that MOOCs were the way to go. Now it's very different, of course.
Correct.
So I tried telling them, why don't you take this and, offer this? And they were not very willing. That's why we launched the Certificate in Technology and Management with IIT Madras. We started launching our own programs. The first one we launched was Certificate in Technology and Management. It is a good price.
So initially these programs as academic partnership is something that we are offering so that they can offer it to their this one to even corporate, like we are giving the programs and they can offer it to their learners or their employees to saying that okay, now we are offering our own programs and it will have its own identity. And CTM was the first program.
CTM was the first program.
If you call it the program.
I think it was the program. It ran for 3 cycles.
Maybe can you define for people who what is the difference between a course and a program so that that stitching part, I think that's the another shift if you say in terms of you put the platform and then you move from an individual course to a program.
Correct. So actually what happened was initially we were all experimenting. So we had multiple courses. This is just like a menu and you don't know what to do with it. So that's when the idea of MicroMasters came up. I think that didn't come up from us. That came up from MIT and Harvard, but we were a part of the founding group of MicroMasters. In fact, we were the only group that actually, the only institution that were allowed to offer a MicroMasters without offering a pathway to the university. Because anybody who does a MicroMasters, the basic requirement was you could get an admission into the university. We couldn't allow that. So then we saw there are opportunities in grouping. And then we thought, why can't we do that on IIMBx? Offer a group of courses that can be offered to a set of students. So that's when the idea of CTM came in. Frankly, actually, if you think about it, there were not very many. We didn't develop many courses only for that. We used some of our existing courses. Then we got IIT Madras to contribute a couple of courses, in data science and so on. And then we stitched them together, and it was offered on our platform. See, one of the things we were always very keen was that every program would be offered on the IIMBx platform.
Mm.
And I can tell you that was very tough because we had some really tempting offers
Correct.
to offer courses, from various other edtech learners who desperately wanted our courses and wanted it on their platform. So there were several, I think, Emeritus, TCS, Upgrad, all of them were interested.
Yeah.
But I think,
What was the
including
reason?
Byju's.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What was the reason why we choose? Because I mean, one of the things that is different in IIMBx is also we had a lot of internal team by the time 2016-17. You had a structured camera team, you had a structured instruction design team. So what was the prime motive in terms of sticking to our own platform, and also is it because of the experience that we were able to give, or
No, it just evolved, Diljit. Actually, I teach strategy.
Okay.
And we talk about strategy as deliberate. You plan everything beforehand.
Correct.
And then you go and execute it.
Correct.
And the alternate view is strategy is just messing around, muddling through,
Correct.
and then something emerges.
Correct.
So this is a classic case of muddling through.
Okay.
Things just evolved. I think one of the reasons was we could do pretty much what we wanted. Because we were very small in the institute. Nobody really bothered. And we had money, right?
Okay.
And we had a fantastic team.
Okay.
So if you had an idea yesterday, you could implement it today. That really, that made a huge difference.
Can I just maybe quickly take that point of view? Because many organizations would want to have two choices, right? One is to build their own platform and offer the courses, which they would have more control, but also build up the team. Other one is giving it to another platform which is already running. What would you think is a because each has maybe its own advantages in terms of financial, but in terms of learner experience, uh, what do you think would be the ideal thing for an organization who is getting started? Because that's a choice that many of them, as you say, there will be a lot of offers. There will be tempting. Oh, should I put it in this platform, platform 2, platform 3, but or should I build my own platform?
Correct.
And maybe we'll go into platforms a bit later.
But I'll simply say that we were very clear that we will not have our own platform technically. In the sense, we would borrow from OpenEdX.
Okay.
We wouldn't develop our platform. That was very clear to us.
Okay. Maybe since you are in that topic, we would go a bit deeper into. So, did we stick to open source softwares as a principle, or what was the reason? Because
deliberate.
Okay.
And there were 2 or 3 reasons for that.
Yeah.
The first reason was, of course, it was open source. The second was very practical reason, because our courses were on edX.
Correct.
And they could be ported very easily.
Okay.
And we could brand it. Right, so we could take white label thing and brand it.
Okay.
So, and we had enough competence outside. So personally, I was very clear that we would not, go and create our own.
Okay.
I've always strongly resisted it. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I think when we did OpenEdX, there were at least 8,000 instances of OpenEdX worldwide.
Okay.
So we could draw upon, their experience. In fact, we did talk to several people outside the country also to help us create. We just took the best elements. For example, at that point of time, McKinsey site was built on OpenEdX.
Okay.
So we talked to the guy who created that.
Okay.
And we said, can you create such an interface for us? The problem was they were all very expensive.
Okay.
So then we went back to some of our own alum who helped us do all of this. But it was the first thing, we were very clear that it would not be, we would not build a platform, but we would just have a presence on an open source platform. Correct. First.
But at the end of the day, we could potentially call it our platform.
That's why we did the IIMBx.
Yeah.
But that also we were very clear that we would not, port our courses to alternate platforms, because the IIMB brand was very strong. And IIMBx was leveraging on that. And therefore, we thought people would come to us. We didn't need anybody else. I think, I still don't regret that. I think this was the right thing to do.
I think we have continued that in the last 10 years. I think most of the courses that we have offered is at least on IIMBx or in a SWAYAM platform, which is of course the Government of India platform, and of course IGOT, which is another Government of India platform. Okay. I mean, so getting back to the journey, so this platform decision was really crucial in terms of the thing, and then the program, and then what?
So in hindsight, the platform decision was crucial at that time.
But you had no other, you were not even thinking of,
no, I didn't think about anything.
Of moving into another.
See, first of all, we didn't take decision by committees.
Okay.
So we could just decide.
Okay.
And
okay.
so we just decided. And
okay.
Nobody really questioned it. And that really helped, by the way, because we could just move. And then, of course, we offered these courses, and IIMBx became quite popular. I have to tell you, actually, I think, I am not sure, I think that even edX did many of their corporate programs on the model that we did subsequently. Because as far as I know, some of their models emerged after our models. We were even ahead of them in terms of offering corporate programs.
Okay.
So I think we were quite
How
innovative.
did corporate programs work out? So will their employees be incentivized, or is it like a program, or they could come and is it like an open program, or
So
how did?
CTM was an open program.
Okay.
Anybody
So
could apply.
corporate, you can potentially say CTM as a corporate program?
Well,
Where,
program for corporates, that's what I meant.
okay, okay.
But it's now, of course, subsequently we also had this. We had programs exclusive for corporates, specific corporates. The difference there was we didn't offer a program, we offered courses. So they would say, I want a course in marketing or operations, and we would provide that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's a little different.
Okay.
CTM was a program, so Girish used to lead it.
Correct.
And at that point of time, we got applications. We screened them. We gave them a test.
Okay.
We screened them. We did an interview.
Okay.
And then we selected. So
Okay.
it was not you could just, get in.
Got it. That was interesting. How was the program experience from a course delivery experience? Because this would be a complete for a learner point of view also. Because this was the early stages of programs. And 2016-17, this program idea was not so popular yet. So how did the learners react to a program? And it's also a lot of commitment for a certain period of time.
So the first thing, of course, is it was co-branded. That was really helpful with IIT and IIM. But offering a course is you offer the course and you forget about it. At best, you do one engagement online or using Zoom or something.
Correct.
If you're offering a course, you've got to visualize the whole course and then basically map the whole learner journey. Right from the time you admit them till the time they get a certificate. So it requires constant attention. I mean, student engagement is of a different level. And in between, students sometimes drop out, they fail. All of these things happen.
Can you break that student experience a bit? Because usually in online, there is this problem that once you deliver it, they think that, okay, you can just deliver and get the course out. But I think even in CTM, there was people really allocated for following up with students, having conversation with them. So can you break down that bit of learner engagement, that experience that we usually talk about, which is not very subtly logical, but there is an inside part of it which is very crucial in terms of delivery.
So two things we decided when we did that program was that we would not keep it completely online. The reason was if you are studying from an IIM or an IIT, you want to actually go and experience the campus.
Correct.
So we had decided right in the beginning that there would be at least one visit to IIT Madras because most of the courses being orchestrated from here.
Okay.
So the course started with a week at IIM Bangalore.
Okay.
So they got into the
campus.
The campus, they understood the campus, they met the faculty, and they had 1 or 2 sessions with the faculty.
So
and then the course would continue.
The 1 week they would stay, or it's a 1 week immersive program?
Immersive program. So for instance, if you start with operations and HR or people management or something, so the respective faculty would do 2 or 3 sessions in that 1 week.
Okay.
They would introduce the MOOC, and then the MOOC would go on week by week.
Okay.
And then they would, at the end of that first module, or what we called as, I think, module or something, they would come back for the exam.
Where? Physically?
Physically, sometimes online.
Okay.
And then we would introduce a second module. So the course always started and ended with the respective faculty. So there was a strong, faculty-student connect. And then sometime in between, they also went to IIT Madras. So that's one kind of engagement. The other engagement is, for example, Girish was handling that at that point of time. He would reach out to the students. And then we had the PRAs who would actually support the students in the different courses. So this whole thing, it is a continuous engagement. You couldn't just let go. There would be somebody who had, say, family emergency, couldn't take an exam. Or there might be someone who couldn't clear an exam. So they had to go on to another cycle, make up. So, it was like running a
full-time program.
Full-time program.
Okay.
And that was the experience. And that was pretty good, by the way.
So I mean, just to summarize that, so it's not like typically some course you give and then they take it and go. Usually
No.
that's the perception of online teaching.
No.
But at least in our programs, we have had like people follow up, actually, literally, maybe even generate data and see where they are, how they are doing, and things like that.
Yes.
Did you use some bit of data to kind of cross? I mean, also because it's working with two institution is usually a bit complex thing, right? So how did that putting a platform, putting people together, faculty together, even recording into an, how did, is there any stories,
Okay.
interesting experiences?
So I think one IIT faculty came in and recorded at IIM Bangalore because he was located in
Okay.
Bangalore. But it was not a problem. See, first thing is it was a handshake. The story is really interesting because IIT, a couple of faculty colleagues, Professor Andrew, whom you know, came in to IIM Bangalore, and then we had a chat. We had a cup of coffee together. Ramya, Andrew, me, then I'm forgetting the name of the other person. Okay, so we all had a cup of coffee together, and I said, why don't we try this? So we didn't have an agreement or anything. We just did it.
Okay.
And they liked us, we liked them, so we launched the program. That's how it started.
Okay.
And then we improvised along the way. But we didn't have a formal contract initially. The contracts and all that came later.
So the idea was to put together, they had a vision in terms of, they were
They
already
just
putting
bought into
courses.
they were not putting courses there. They were just, they were part of NPTEL.
Okay.
So NPTEL was offering courses.
Okay.
I don't think they thought about offering a program. I think the undergraduate program came much later.
Okay.
Not at that point of time.
Okay.
It is just that we got talking. It's just what I said. Strategy is emergent. So we got talking. We said, why don't we offer? And Andrew said, I think we can. It may be a good idea.
Got it.
Then we said, let's put together. And actually, I think most of the program was stitched together at IIMB.
Okay.
And the administration was from IIMB.
Okay.
And finally, they seconded somebody from that team to come here and work with us. She was located
So there was a lot of collaboration in terms of...
but administratively, everything happened from IIMB. Nothing from IIT Madras.
Okay.
So that's how it worked. And then it just grew.
Great. Just going back to the FOL, we started in that this one. So how did that conference image? Because during that, I mean, it was a time when MOOCs or, for example, online teaching was really emerging. So how did that idea come in, and how was the conference? Because almost three versions of it.
This is also very accidental. What happened was I attended the edX conference, and there I met Dr. Phatak, who is actually kind of quite a legend in this area. It's an IIT Bombay faculty. We got, just like I became friendly with Andrew and his colleagues, I became very friendly with Professor Phatak, and he's a very nice person. So we had a lot of interactions, and I proposed to him, why can't we do a joint conference? The plan was we would do this alternatively. So we would do once in IIM Bangalore, once at IIT Bombay, and keep on moving back and forth. And but I said we would do all the admin from here. He had to give us his, feedback and advisory, kind of support and all that. And that's what we did. Actually, the conference was completely visualized. Everything was done at IIMBx. Everything, right up to the design of the brochure and the websites, everything we did. And then the idea was we would shift it next year to IIT Bombay. But for some reason, he was not very comfortable moving it. And then we said we will do the second year here. Then by the time we retired. And then we did the third year here. That's how it happened. But I think that is a very interesting conference because we literally had, the CEOs of every top, let's say, edtech company, actually coming in Coursera, edX, FutureLearn, all of them, physically or otherwise, they came in and they actually presented. So it was a fantastic experience.
What was the key learning during that time? Because now things would have changed a lot, this one. But what was the key takeaway of some of those conferences and conversations at that time?
I'm not sure how to summarize that. But we actually, all of them is, by the way, up on the web. Everything is archived. All the three conferences, all the recordings. But I think what really interested me then was the energy there. Huge amount of energy. We had, I think, 200 plus people. We never expected. that we would have so many people. We had, sponsors who were willing to just come in, and some sponsors wanted to Cobra, and we said no, but they still continued to fund us.
Okay.
So it was a conference where, normally academic conferences are very theory oriented.
Correct.
We mixed everything. So we had industry, we had policymakers,
Correct.
we had academics coming in. So it was a place where you could come with an idea, you could do various things. In fact, I think one of the youngest presenters accepted papers. He didn't finally present.
Okay.
Was some 13-year-old boy who
Okay.
actually came into the conference.
Okay.
And we had 50, 60, 70-year-olds also.
Okay.
So it was a place for everybody to gather. I don't think there was anything similar. There was one similar conference which IIT Bombay offered, but that is very tech focused. This wasn't tech focused.
So this brought together, I mean, as you said, pedagogy, this one, to deliver online courses.
Yeah, and we had one founding principle in that also.
Okay.
We had said that this conference would be platform agnostic. And that is very important to us. We said we are not going to promote any platform. And that's why we could get Coursera, edX, and FutureLearn.
Okay.
Everybody came in because they could see that this didn't have to do with promoting anybody.
Correct.
This is just a conversation.
Correct. All right. I think just to summarize, it's almost in the journey of 2018. We were doing a lot of FTPs, so already a program is set up. Our team would have already grown into 40, 50 people. A lot of courses has been delivering. How did you see, this is of course pre-pandemic and things like
then
that.
the pandemic hit, that was very interesting because pandemic hit, I was actually the chair that time also.
Yeah, so it was towards the end of the transition and you were...
No, what happened was Professor Vasanthi asked me to continue for a year.
Okay.
So she was preoccupied with something else, I think. So I continued into the pandemic.
Okay.
So I think almost towards the end of the pandemic is when... Actually, at the end of the pandemic is when Professor Vasanthi took over.
Okay.
So pandemic was a big challenge, but that's when everything, people found the value of this. In fact, you will find an old video. I think, Yusuf, you also were involved in recording it, right? How to deliver classes online. You should see it. It's a really nice one. Huh?
Okay, maybe we'll pull it up.
It's really nice because we start from the studio and then we come right up to the editing table. We explain to people what is happening and so on. But that's when it really took off. But we had a lot of challenges. I remember we couldn't get people inside the campus.
Correct.
So some people had to stay on campus. But, that's the time I think everyone realized this was a really good thing. But, in a paradoxical way, that's the time everyone also realized that anyone could do it. So our uniqueness was lost.
Okay.
But then our importance was, kind of clear to everybody that this is the future.
Correct.
So in between, we even proposed an MBA based on this, but didn't have enough traction, so it just died.
Anything else, Professor, in terms of your journey, stories that you would have missed as part of the 5 years conversation that I couldn't capture or something? Any interesting incidents that you remember which was a turning point in some of the decisions? Or
what happens in situations like this is the person in the front gets all the credit.
Yeah.
So I was the chair. And so, the cameras are literally focused on me. But the fact is, nobody can do these things by themselves.
Correct.
There's a fantastic team that works, right? You can have a great faculty if it's not recorded well, end of story. Correct. If it's not edited well, end of story. Correct. Not delivered well, in terms of the online format, correct, end of story. So we had people who really lived it, right? So I think if anyone wants to build something like this, it's really important to build the team. And I think it's not that I had a great vision or anything, but I think I was able to enable people. So as far as I remember, I can't remember a single idea, someone brought an idea into the room and I said, we will not do it. I just let people experiment. I also experimented. And we all did it together. That, I think, created a huge amount of energy. That is basically the essence of building any successful organization. You have to harness the energy of the people. And in an emerging technology like this, you have to let them experiment. Correct. There will be failures. Let them fail. I mean, the cost is not so much.
Correct.
And then, try again and succeed.
Yeah. Especially in digital, where there are also multiple people involved in delivering this, right? Correct. It's not like one person can deliver the entire
You can't.
thing.
You can't.
So, okay, I mean, thank you so much, Professor. I mean, it was really wonderful.
No, I don't know. What's a funny story? I don't know. I don't have any funny stories. Did we have any? I don't know. It's long time. That you should be able to, because I used to have a lot of conversations with them.
I wish I can see that.
COVID and then Swayam was taking over.
Oh, we didn't talk about fun.
Okay, I hope it was useful. Anyway,
Yes.
just make whatever.
Yes. I think, thank you. What was it? Huh? Chumma you are saying? Because you are first.